welcome to Canterbury Live. You've reached Friday, congratulations. It's the 20th of June. I hope you've got something nice planned for the weekend. And if not, there's a bit of history today. Tomorrow, for those of you that can remember, what happened 50 years ago? Fab Four, Wellington, hysteria? That would be the Beatles. 50 years ago today in 1964, they arrived into Wellington. Amazing. It was, for some New Zealanders, it was the moment the 1960s began in earnest. The first stop in Wellington, there was 7,000 screaming fans, nearly all young women. They waited as the band touched down on the 21st of June. One girl badly slashed her thigh, which is a bit unfortunate. There's a fan, and that's the way they were. It was absolute hysteria. In Christchurch, they toured as well, and we have a quote actually from one of an ex-student, Jock Phillips. He was a sixth former at Christ College, and he recalls being halfway through lunch with prefects and the headmaster at a raised table and the rest of the school down below. Suddenly, the whole place went silent. Everyone looked up at the high table, and it was obvious something was going to happen. So the headmaster suddenly twigged and said to everyone, "Go, say grace, quickly, quickly." Minutes later, everyone jumped up, went outside, and watched as the Beatles went past. So that's pretty cool. It was the only time I ever saw the ritual in a formal Anglican school completely overturned. The headmaster was powerless to resist the Beatles. Pretty cool. So 50 years ago tomorrow, so pretty awesome. Now, coming up on today's show, we get a little snippet of Rob's Country at the end of the show. We have Natalie Johnson in. She is the Celiac New Zealand Support founder for the Christchurch Support team here, and we catch up with the Canterbury Refugee Council. But first up, a very important part of our community is the youth, and we hope that they have a voice, and one of those voices is with me today. I'm joined by Hamish Cohen. Hamish, welcome to Canterbury Live.
Thank you.
Thank you, and congratulations. You had an exam this morning, I believe.
Indeed.
You're studying environmental
Management.
Yeah. Very great. So we'll see you as a future leader here.
Potentially.
In Christchurch. Now, explain to us, what is the Youth Council?
So the Youth Council, it's made up of 16 young people from all over the city, pretty much brought together with a common purpose of wanting to make change in the city, wanting to advocate at all sorts of levels for young people to have input, and just to make Christchurch a really youth-friendly place, because there's so much potential. Just need to make it happen. So
why is that why you actually started the Youth Council, was to get the voice of the youth heard?
It started off in 1990, so there's a bit of a history, under the City Council to advise the council on policy and things. It was moved out from under them late 1990s, moved around a few charities and things, and finally we've just become an incorporated society, and it was felt that we needed to be more efficient and more autonomous to make decisions and have a stance on things. So that's why where we are now.
Okay, so the city is in rebuild mode. It's going to be wonderful and new and fresh and exciting. Do you feel that the youth are actually being heard?
It really depends. At this stage, we've had some great input into some Sarah-based projects, which is fantastic. The City Council's listening to us, which is wonderful, but there's still room for improvement, and we can really be listened to more. There's no sort of limit to how much you can be heard or how much input young people can have. I think mostly it's making it accessible. It's all very well to go through the standard submission processes, write a letter. It's very antiquated.
Very.
So I think there needs to be a push for young people to do a video, make a vlog, do whatever to get their message and voice heard by the people making the decisions.
What are some of the things that the Youth Council would like to see get across the line?
So predominantly at the moment it's at that communication stage, actually getting what's happening in the city out there. There's the Facebook page that the City Council runs, which is great, but we feel there needs to be some serious engagement projects involving schools, universities and things, about letting young people knowing what's happening, really encouraging that. We're also quite keen to see the City Council in particular, as they are a big stakeholder in the city, engage with groups such as ours, but also other youth councils, youth reference groups and things, about the policies that are being developed in regards to the rebuild. So it's wide-ranging.
So you're passionate about having your voice heard. Do you think that the general popular demand of the student or of the young people, are they actually really care about what's happening about their city?
I think they do. I think there's obviously a very small percentage that don't give a monkeys, and that's okay. But I think a lot of young people are really, really keen to have a voice and be heard and be included. We ran an event a few weeks ago, 200 young people, fantastic, did some surveys and things at the end, and I think 85% were really keen to have their voice heard, but not really sure how. So I think that's education. That's somewhere that Youth Council's heading as well. So getting people to understand how they can influence change. And it's just that basic democratic right.
What's your next big event?
Next big event, it's going to be an elections push, getting young people enrolled to vote and also understanding why they need to vote. As we can see in Christchurch, there's lots of things happening that people need to have a say on, and that's determined by national government, so getting people involved in that process.
Well, speaking of the candidates that are here in Christchurch, do you feel they all are all listening to the voice of the youth?
I think they are. I think we're going to hold a debate at some stage late August that will be really telling. Haven't had a good look into the policies and things yet, but I do feel on a whole people care about young people. It's just creating those avenues for them to be heard properly.
Okay. And are you always looking for new support for the Youth Council?
Definitely. We have our meetings third Monday of every month and they're open to the public, so welcome everybody. We're also looking just more opportunities to connect with other people, with other groups and things. Can't have too many connections.
And can you offer yourselves as consultants? So for instance, if you have a new business in Christchurch or an older business maybe, and they're wanting the views from the youth, can we look on you?
Definitely. That's something that we've done a few times for like the Drug and Alcohol Helpline. They've came to us last year. We just had a chat about what they're doing to engage young people and is it working? What can we offer them? So I had a good chat there. There's also a youth sector group in Christchurch which is really strong, which is a cross-government group, NGOs and philanthropics, all come together with that common purpose of how can we make young people in Christchurch feel included and employed, happy, healthy. So it's that group as well which is there to support everybody.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. You're a great ambassador for the youth, and I look forward to seeing some of the things, all the policies you want to get across are heard by our council. So well done.
Cheers.
Now stay with us. After the break, we find out more about the Christchurch new support group for celiac. Welcome back to Canterbury Live. Now, celiac is something that you may hear toyed about quite a lot in the workplace or at home, but I'm with a very important lady beside me who has had a wonderful role of founding the Christchurch New Zealand support for celiac sufferers. So welcome to you. Now, Natalie, explain to me, why did you feel you needed to actually create a group right here in Christchurch?
Well, about 25 years ago, I was diagnosed with celiac and I found that I didn't know enough, and meeting with other people who had the same condition was important. In those days we couldn't go into the shops and buy gluten-free foods, so everything had to be made from scrap, and you needed other people to find out where you got food and how you made it and where the recipes were. And so another girl and myself started the group, and they're now throughout New Zealand, and very, very beneficial for people to exchange ideas, see each other face to face and learn.
Well, let's go back to basics. What is a celiac allergy?
Well, the celiac is actually celiac disease, and the disease part is at the body where part of the immune system is broken down. Originally it was thought that we were a rare group, but now we're finding out that there's 1.5 in 100 will be a celiac. It is a genetic condition, and being a celiac, we're allergic to the protein gluten, which is found in wheat, oat, rye and barley, and triticale. The protein aspect has got a little barcode, and it's the toxicity part of that barcode that we are reacting to, which causes other parts of your body to go into disease and break down. So we're associated with, I think it's about 26 other major diseases. So it's the autoimmune system breaks down.
So what are some of the symptoms that we may be experiencing and we may think that we actually have, and we might be celiac?
Well, the common one is bloating, but it's associated with infertility, broken bones, cancers, the big one, arthritis. You've got your fuzzy brain syndrome. A lot of people now are looking at ADHD in children. Okay. Failure to thrive was the main thing as children. Anemia deficiency, constant tiredness, inability to think and be yourself and develop to who you really are.
So your support group in Christchurch, what services do you offer to the community?
Listening roles and supporting roles, getting people to stand on their own 2 feet and letting them think about what they can do to help themselves, because our food is our medicine. And with everything being manufactured these days, you have to learn to read labels and know what's safe to eat. And a lot of the food is not safe. It's joined together with other product, and particularly wheat is bound up in the food so that it makes the food have a longer life on the shelf. So we've got to look at supporting people, understanding what the labels say, understanding where we can get food, and know that we are not different.
Yeah, exactly. You just have a special difference, don't you?
Yes.
Having children, though, with this must be difficult, though.
It is
especially with school.
difficult. The children have a special place because they don't understand why they have sore tummies. They don't understand why they have diarrhoea and a lot of wind. They know how it affects them, and so they start not eating, and then the parent is just very unhappy. They don't know where to go, how to go. They go back to the doctor. Other conditions start arising, itchy skin, and it's finding out how to solve the problem, how to make your child well, and how to achieve.
Has gluten-free become trendy, do you think?
It has become trendy. However, there are a lot of people who have associated conditions, and when they go on to eating gluten-free, they feel a lot better. And so the Celiac Society, they encourage people to look for why they're feeling better and to get a correct diagnosis. But people who are choosing to be gluten-free can be members of the Celiac Society.
Excellent. Now, when people think gluten-free or celiac, what recipes and that, there's actually a lot of great recipes available, isn't there?
There is a huge amount now. When I started, there was nothing, and we used to get just a band or a handwritten recipe swapping around. But now I think I've got about 40 or 50 books that I share around and give out. And the libraries have got them, bookshops have got them, but there's an awful lot on the computer and the World Wide Web. You can link up to other gluten-free societies throughout the world and choose what you want to do.
And you mentioned 25 years ago there wasn't products available, but now when you go to the supermarket, and that's any supermarket, there is products now available. It must be wonderful.
It is. The 2 main food chains in New Zealand have really taken on board the fact that gluten-free is not a fad, it's a fact. And I'm very, very grateful to the way they've gone about organising their shelves so that you can go in and get gluten-free food immediately and keep on living.
Good on you. And there's a great website. It's the celiac.org.nz, and I believe there's also recipes on there as well available.
There are.
Thank you, Natalie. And I like those words you said. It is a fact. It's not a fad.
That's right.
Very true. There could be a byline there somewhere.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, after the break, I'm joined by 3 special guests talking to me about the Refugee Council. Kia ora and welcome back to Canterbury Live. Now today is a very special day, and the one thing I love about our country is the mix of culture and the way that we embrace it. And today is World Refugee Day. Cheapest if you could say it, Andrea, 3 times. Now I'd like to welcome a very special guest. We have Ahmed, welcome to Canterbury Live, and Yumashal,
yes,
beautiful, and Bishnu. Thank you very much for coming along today. Can we first talk about the countries? This, of course, is home now, but where did you come from?
I came from Somalia.
Somalia?
I come from Ethiopia.
Ethiopia, beautiful.
Ethiopia.
And Ethiopia.
And I'm from Nepal.
And Nepal. Wow, there we are. Fantastic. Let's talk about how you've celebrated World Refugee Day today. So,
Well, Refugee Day is, to us, is very important day as a refugee background communities. We believe that the World Refugee Day is World Humanitarian Day. the will of protection of the refugees who came from a displaced countries or a problem countries who go across the borders and goes to the refugee camps. It's the day that the life of the refugee people comes back. It's the day that we will celebrate what we can contribute to the host communities that we came as refugees.
Michelle, what does it mean to you today, coming from Ethiopia to New Zealand? What is it for you?
World Refugee Day to me is like people coming together regardless of where they come from, what kind of background they have, what kind of religion they have. It's also like humanitarian work based on, they mainly, like World Refugee Day brings people all over the world together. And it's very colorful. We celebrate it colorfully. It's, I said humanitarian work because United Nations are the one who select people who are in need of their needs, the people's needs. And yeah, I see it as humanitarian work mainly.
Vishnu, of course, New Zealand is your home now, in Canterbury. But why did you come to New Zealand? What was the main reason that took you away from Nepal?
Well, because being a political situation that in Nepal for 10 years, there was ongoing fighting between the two groups, and that made me to flee from my country, and that's how, all those stages of things that happened, and after that I came to New Zealand.
Ahmed, what do you really want from the World Refugee Day? What would you like for people to actually understand from a refugee's perspective?
Well, I think that the refugees are a human being than the other human beings. And refugees are intelligent and intellectuals like the other people. To understand that the refugees have got a lot of, talents, and a lot of intelligence, and a lot of knowledge to contribute the country who host. I really, I think that to understand that point.
Yeah, Michelle, is there things that surprise you about New Zealanders, about maybe think of a better word, their ignorance about other countries?
I don't feel New Zealand's ignorance. I actually feel New Zealand's the best country for a refugee because they have different facility that people can go to for help. For example, we have what we call it Reunited Trust. What that trust does is helping people, refugee background people who can't afford for air ticket once their application is successful. They can't afford tickets, so that trust pays for them, helps them, and there are a lot of other helps that assist refugee background people, and yeah, they are well settled in here, and they can do almost anything they are planning to do. No limitation because of their background.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Vishnu, you spoke about humility, but it must be a humbling thing though when you move from your home country to another country.
Of course it is. Yes, and because you will leave behind your family, your culture, your language, your surrounding environment, all those things you will leave and you will start a new life. It's really difficult and it's a challenging work to start a new life for someone who had to flee from the country, because of the torture, trauma, and, to mingle in the wider community. It's very difficult for the settlement. But, in New Zealand, it's being very good because of we accept the multiculturalism, and that's why different colors, from maybe different countries, and they are acknowledged here. And like we have the language line interpreting service, even with the language, culture, we celebrate our feast and festivals together like Diwali and those things. That gives you the sense, the belonging, self-belonging thing. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Well, I thank you all for coming today and sharing your stories. We only touched on it, but I embrace you for coming here today and sharing a little bit about you, and I wish you all the very best.
Thank you.
Kia ora.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me this week on Canterbury Live. It's been an absolute delight. We look forward to seeing you on Monday, and check out this little snippet of Rob's Country right now. Bye-bye.